Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and Perils in Paradise. It finally goes live today, and I have a deck for every class to try out. I do not recommend crafting anything day one. Whenever you open, try and make some of these lists. We'll have more refined and good stuff. Usually 2 days after, I wait for the day one patch review, then the next day. But we're going to take these lists from Vicious Syndicate. They have like 45 to try out. I'll link it below. If the decks I suggested aren't really what you want, they have a ton more to try out. And of course, we'll have those good deck recommendations in a couple of days. I also want to announce our giveaway winners. We didn't quite hit the next 1,000 subs, but whatever. We did 3 rewards track giveaways to those winners there. I've contacted them. If I don't hear back from them within 24 hours, I will contact some new winners. A huge thank you for all your support during the reveal season. Should be a lot of fun or a lot of ranting going into this next set. So I really do thank you all for that, and hopefully we'll have some giveaways soon. And I did want to mention, I will be streaming myself play these decks. Likely most of these decks will be like rouletting it up, trying out all the different stuff on twitch.tv/Zeddy. I'll start a little bit before the expansion launch, which is expected to be around 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or I believe around 7 p.m. CET. I can never get the time zones right, but I know my European viewers will be there, and I love you guys, so appreciate everybody there. And yeah, let's take a look at what decks you might want to try out. So the first deck we have here is the Shanty Mage. It features Rayla Sand Sculptor, the new mechanic, the new keyword of this expansion. It's got tourists, so it's the Paladin tourist card. It allows you to put Paladin cards from Perils in Paradise into your deck. That includes Divine Brew, Life-Saving Aura, and you can put like Volley Maul, and basically they give all these 1-mana spells that if you play your Rayla with like Concierge, they're all 0 mana and you can just spam away. You'll note a lot of that probably this set. And you can cheat out like your Sea Shanty, which is 10 mana but could go to 0, your Mantle Shapers, and it's like a tempo deck. It's got Kagnar for a bit of late game. You have Instrument Tech in there to help tutor your volleyball, and overall, don't know how competitive this looks, but it's certainly a different style of Mage deck, so it might be something you want to consider. And I think the only really expensive card in here is Rayla from the new set, and I guess Sea Shanty's an epic, but still, something you might want to give a go. Next, we have another tourist deck in Lynessa Paladin, which is not a concierge deck because Sunsapper Lynessa herself can cheat a lot of mana, as you can use rogue cards and play it alongside O Manager, which with Lynessa will deal 4 damage, give you 2 coins, and then each of those coins will give you 4 mana. And then you could do other stuff like Holy Glow Sticks, which all of a sudden is 1 mana and will deal 8 damage and can effectively OTK. You could play for a tempo game as well with this deck, and you have Sea Shanty in there to cheat out stats, Horn of the Windlord for some extra damage, and overall seems like a hybrid style of OTK tempo deck. But I assume this is what this set's going to be a lot like. And Tidepole Pupil, again, is going to be like almost every one of these decks because it gives you an extra spell that you've already played, which is super good. Like, it's a very strong card. Rogue doesn't have a lot of new stuff going on this set. At least that seems super competitive. We do have a Eudora Mining Rogue, which lets you do the whole Excavate thing if you're not sick of that already. But it's got some new tools in here, like Treasure Hunter Eudora, which if you play 3 cards, I believe, that didn't start in your class, you get to discover 2 treasures from duels, and it can be really solid. I picked up this at Arena and had like almost a 10-win run, mainly because of Eudora treasures, so they can be pretty good. But of course, you got like your infinite Excavates in here, all that good stuff, and overall the deck will be a value train. You can clear the board with your 0 mana Snatch and Grab, and yeah, a bit of a different take on Mining Rogue, but you know, it's a deck that's got Eudora, so I kind of have to recommend it. Warlock got a bunch of new Pain Warlock cards, so we're going to recommend a Pain Warlock deck. This doesn't run a tourist anything. You just have Party Planner Vona as your big bomb in the late game. You get that 6-drop alongside an 8/8 taunt that if it dies, it can attach itself to another minion in your deck. And then once that dies, it's resummoned and can technically go infinite as long as you have another minion in your hand. You have some new cards in here like Her Souvenir just to buff up your minions. You can self-damage a bit later, but it's even a delayed effect, so it's really solid. And the Fearless Flame Juggler, let's just say I play like one Spirit Bomb, that's +4/+4 on my 2-drop. So you can just do a couple of those and you get a bunch of stats. And the remainder of the deck, pretty similar to old versions, but yeah, absolutely something that looks pretty competitive considering Pain Warlock is already really good and getting some new stuff. Of course, we gotta recommend a new Death Knight deck, and we're gonna go full, like, just craziness here with the buttons. You got buttons to get some Shaman cards. It's a rainbow deck, so you still got like Climactic Necrotic Explosion, Headless Horseman, but buttons can draw out Frosty Decor. It can draw out your Molten Magma. Some new cards in there as well. And Horizon Edge, which I think is one of the best cards in the whole set, especially for Death Knight. A ton of damage. Corpsicle can help ramp up your Climactic Necrotic Explosion, so it can be really, really good. And this is definitely one of the decks I'm most excited to try out myself. We also just have straight up Spell School Shaman, which features the Razzle Dazzler, where if you played a bunch of spell schools during the game, you get a bunch of 5-drops, but you got a bunch of cool new cards in here, like Caress Cabaret Star, Carefree Cookie to help you access some Demon Hunter cards, like Patches the Pilot, I think one of the best cards in the set, Sigil of Skydiving to get those, you know, token rushers, and overall looks like a nice mid-range kind of aggro-ish style deck, and with some really big late game bombs, and certainly one that, at least to me in theory crafting, looked all right, but who knows on ladder. We also have probably the most aggressive deck in the set, Pirate Aggro Demon Hunter, running my favorite card, Paraglider. I love that mechanic, but overall, you want to tempo out with early game like Patches the Pilot, your Sock Puppet, Slither Spear. You got the new pirates like Adrenaline Fiend and the Sigil Skydiving, Dangerous Cliffside, which is a bunch of damage with charge pirates in that location, and Gorgon Zormu, which gives you that cheese that it can tempo out later in the game for a lot of stats. Looks like a very quick deck, but certainly has card draw to reload and might be able to push some major damage. Priest, I'm going to throw out Automaton Priest. I actually think this might be okay. Played it in theory crafting, it seemed all right. There's a lot of 1-drop support from the Hunter cards, playing Chillin' Vulcan, the Hunter tourist card, and then you can play like Pet Parrot, which can recast Astral Automaton. You could cheat it out with your weapon in Trusty Fishing Rod. I think one of the better cards in the entire set. Sasquatch lets you replay a bunch of cards, which could be like Thirsty Drifters, Amanthul, and you got Raw Dead in there. Again, since it didn't start in your deck, you can like Astral Automaton and get more of those and just continuously fill the board with really good stuff. Wouldn't totally sleep on this deck. Astral Automaton might finally be a thing. And then we have Muscle Hunter. We're making use of Ranger Gilly, the warrior tourist card for Hunter, just mainly to get those muscles, the couple muscle, which you can make 0 with Concierge, which is in this deck. You can also play All You Can Eat, which just draws a bunch of different tribal minions, including like Drink Server, which is a Murloc, and I think a pirate. Got Typal Pupil as your Naga, Mantle Shaper as an elemental, so you got lots of stuff going there. If you really want, you can play Ranger Gilly to buff your stuff, and it does look very aggressive, pretty good, and might be a good deck to try early to punish, you know, people trying to have fun and play late game. Oh wait, all the combo decks are going to do that. By the way, I tried not to recommend any like OTK stuff because I just don't want to do that, but you can obviously do it, I think, with the Paladin deck, but regardless. Anyways, next deck we have, I gotta recommend Sandwich Warrior. I don't think it's gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be competitive, but if you happen to open up the Rhycleaver and you can actually play some of these cards, get a giant sandwich of minions, and you also have Ham the Hungry, because of course I want to play Druid cards. Druid cards are broken, including New Heights and Trail Mix, because mana cheat good, and yeah, you can tutor your Rhycleaver with Instrument Tech, equip it, hit with it, get that piece of bread. You'll want to play All You Can Eat, attack, you finish that bread up, that sandwich up, and vomit the board with stats, and then bring it back with your hydration station. And yeah, Ziliax is probably going to be re-emerging over and over with this deck. And then lastly, we have the menace of the expansion. Probably we have Druid. I'm not recommending the Druid deck we showed yesterday, the OTK one, although I'm sure it will be there in probably pretty good. But the other broken looking Druid deck, Dragon Druid like 2.0, right? We're not bothering with the Mage cards. This is purely Druid because Druid's just better, right? We got New Heights, we got Trail Mix, Totolan Travelers in there, the Dozing Dragon to help stabilize our mid game after we ramp up. And of course, Sleep Under the Stars, an incredible like refresh, draw engine, armor engine, hydration station to bring back our Fi, to bring back our Ziliax, and just ramp, cheap mana, steal mana with Doomkin. It's very similar to the Druid build we're seeing on ladder today, but it got so much new good stuff, and that deck's already arguably the best deck in the game. So this is quite terrifying, and we'll see how all this plays out. So there you go. We'll be streaming all of these. I will be streaming at expansion launch today over at twitch.tv/Zeddy. Try a bunch of these decks, whatever we decide to try out, but I'll probably start with a bunch of these, including I want to play buttons. I want to play buttons and Shaman for whatever reason, but we'll try out all this stuff, see how broken the game is. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.